Hey, it's Colin from Jeeping.Net. So sorry, it's been a long time since I've updated the Por15. Honestly, the Jeep has not been used all that much in the last 2 years. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you, in the next minute, a very quick rundown as to what my review on this product is. And then I'll do a much more detailed review. And then I'll talk about kind of what I might do different or what I do on a different Jeep next time. And then I'll talk about some more of my longer term plans here. So jumping right into it, am I happy with the product? I am. It's done really well in almost all areas. So in some of the video I'll show in the detail review, you might see what looks like a bit of bleed through in some areas, but what most of that is that's metal shavings that are on the floor here that have chipped up. As soon as I clean that area, most of that goes away. I have bleed through in maybe 1 or 2 little spots, and I think that's probably due to a bit of my prep work. I did go through the Jeep. Some areas I prepped better than others. I'm actually not seeing that big of a difference. The areas I did not prep as well in the front of the Jeep that I did not video. I did not do kind of a lot of the degreaser in that area. Well, I did the degreaser. I didn't do a lot of metal prep, and that area is actually doing pretty well. And I think it's because it's a low impact. The area that is not done well, and this is what I was warned about Por15, is the areas of high impact. So the areas that I've gone rock rash on, so where the Jeep has actually skidded over rocks, rather than chipping the paint, what it's done is actually peeled. In the past, I would have said that's people not doing correct Por15 prep, but that is actually not what I'm seeing. I know that area is prepped well. I have video evidence of it. You'll see my first video. And I am having peeling of the Por15 in some of those high area. So I think majority of people, that'd be fine. I probably wouldn't do this on skid plates, something you need to touch up a lot. But I think when most of the areas, it's actually still a really, really good product. So that's kind of my very quick review. And let's jump into more of the detail here in a second. So yeah, it's been a while since I've updated on this. It's for a lot of reasons. The Jeep has not been used. Right after I got kind of the Por15 done, I started using the Jeep. Got a screwdriver through a rear tire, my very first trail run. Took a little while to get that repaired. Once I got that repaired, my house majorly flooded. And I spent the next 6 months dealing with that. I then started using the Jeep again, and then the rear pinion let go. So I decided, well, great time to re-gear, so I started doing that. And then as soon as I finished that, my house had a major flood once again. So that kind of caused a lot of financial problems and a lot of time problems because I fixed everything myself. So I didn't get a lot of time to work on the Jeep. Got the Jeep running again this summer, and then I started having some problems with the transfer case making a lot of vibrations. It was in the mount. The transfer case was fine. But the previous owner, probably 2 owners ago, had welded that skid to the frame and the mount to the transmission and skid area. So I had to cut that all out. I did a hide body and I Por15 some more of the areas at that time. So I am sorry, it's been 2 years. The Jeep has not seen a lot of road salt. Right now there's actually plows going by in the background here. You might be able to hear them. We are in the middle of some snow going on right now. But my whole intent of this Jeep is not to drive in this salt all that much. I'll drive in snow, no problem. But when the roads are salty, my plan is to keep it here in the garage. But I will take it out here and there. But it is more of a summer vehicle. Anyway, it has held up pretty well. So let's get into more of the details as to what you might see here. So what I am seeing, I prepped this vehicle in a couple of different ways. So you saw in the video, I prepped the whole back end of it here. That went really well. In the front, what I did is I did not actually do as much prep work. I did it in the wintertime. So I had a very short window of some really nice days. So what I did is I degreased it and Por15'd it. I did not metal prep it. The reason why was I wanted to see what would happen, and also the metal was also in pretty good shape. I did not take it down to bare metal, and I decided that probably going over paint is what I'm seeing is that's probably the best case scenario. And so far that area has held up very well. On the frame rails, I did something similar. I did do some metal prep, but I also grinded that down to bare metal. That has held up not great. You can see there's actually some metal peeling going on here. And this is after I've dragged it over rocks. It was completely fine before I dragged it, but rather than kind of gouging, what it did is you can see it's peeled the paint off. And that's kind of frustrating. Now over top of this Por15, there is a top coat of just kind of generic rust black semi-gloss paint. So that's kind of frustrating. To fix that, what I'm going to do is one side I'm actually going to metal prep it and Por15 it again. And the other side, I'm just going to go back with my normal rust paint and paint over that. I actually do that almost probably every fall. I go through the Jeep and I spray it down with some rust paint. I'm going to change that going forward. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using fluid film in the fall, and in the spring I'll be painting any areas that I see a little bit of rust through. For inside the frame, what I've actually done is I've actually cleaned it out. I took a magnet and went through the entire frame, flushed it out probably about 30 times to get everything out of there, and I went through with Eastwood's paint prep material. So this stuff's actually really quite cool. It's actually very much like Por15. It comes out very, very watery. It comes with this nice little hose. The hose kind of sucks though. You can see how it curls. What I did is I actually took a clothes hanger and tied it on here and made this rigid. And so I could kind of move it around a little bit, and it worked really well. It took 3 cans to do both sides, and I used the 4th can in kind of any other little areas that I could shove this up into. So what would I do different next time? I think I would do everything kind of the same that I did, but I would do it in much smaller sections. I would not do the entire underbody of a frame again. If I did, I would do it with the body off. It would be a hell of a lot easier, and really hindsight, that's probably what I should have done. I did it the way I did it because I was waiting on parts, the rear axle was out, the gas tank was out, so it kind of made sense. I'm not sure I would do the actual underneath of the body again. After I took off that dirt grime, it was really good paint, and that paint didn't need to be messed with. However, you don't know what's underneath that road grime, so it's kind of a 50-50 on what you do there. But yeah, the smaller cans are definitely the way to go. And by small cans, I mean really small cans. This is the size of can that I'm using. These are 113 milliliters. I don't know how many ounces that is in Canada, but it's 113 milliliters. So that looks like a small can, and that actually did my entire front of the frame, both sides, and there's actually still a little bit left in there. You buy these in packages of 6. It's a little more expensive than buying it in the big tubs, but I highly recommend buying it this way instead. Inside my Jeep, actually, I didn't film this, but what I did is I actually used Por15, but I used the silver. And the silver is nice because it actually has a little bit of metal flake to it. It fills in a little bit better. And then I actually went over top of that with, not Herculiner, but I've done Herculiner in the past, but I actually did Monster Liner inside the Jeep. Sorry, I had to go look up the can. Monster Liner is a great thing. You just roll it on. It's a little expensive, but you do all the labor yourself. It's all with the prep work. Doing any of this sort of stuff, it's 90% prep work and 10% paint. And it's a really nice product. I like the Monster Liner because it's not as hard on your knees and that sort of stuff after it dries. It doesn't have any little rubber embedded in it. It's a really nice product. It seems to really adhere to the metal really well. It's been in the Jeep now for a year and a half. I've had no chip and I've had no issues with it whatsoever. So yeah, I am really happy with what's happened to the Jeep. I'm really happy with kind of the state it's at. You know, it's got its caveats. You got to be careful putting it on. There is a lot of prep work involved, but I really do think it will last. There are some other products that I am interested in. I'm interested in Chassis Saver. It seems like kind of an equivalent product, and it's also made by the same people that make Monster Liner. And I'm also interested in a paint that is really only commercially available. But I actually take a lot of ferries around here to get back and forth to work. I actually take a couple of ferries, and I notice, they have to paint those ferries every 2 years, but the paint that using there goes on super, super thick. It's like a Por15, but I am interested in understanding that paint a little bit more and how it goes on and how it does. I could imagine doing a Jeep frame in that sort of paint where it would be amazing. But I think there's a lot of caveats with using that type of paint. I think there is some safety concerns, and I think that, there's some more investigation involved in it. I do see maybe using that in the future on another project that I'm thinking about. So anyway, very happy. The Jeep is pretty much ready to go now. I've gone out, done a couple of good trails. I have some problems with my driveline right now, which I'm trying to resolve, but it's all minor. It just, some circuit fittings got ripped off that are becoming difficult to replace. But yeah, Jeep should be back on the road here pretty soon. It is super cold out. I think it's minus 10 in the garage here right now, so I won't be going out wheeling all that much. But yeah, once the snow gets a little deeper, I'll be going out doing some snow wheeling, and got some really fun projects planned here on the Jeep. like these doors, which as you can see are not properly latched down right now. But these are YJ doors with the TJ upper. I'll be doing a video on how I'm doing these and how I'm fixing that latch. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming up. Sorry for the delay in this video. I really am. But yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for your support. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for reviewing the videos. Yeah, all good times ahead. Hopefully my house doesn't flood again, and we'll be good to go. Thanks.